Kirk Duckwall here with the House Geeks, here with a new video series and new video. The series is how to become the smartest seller in the neighborhood. And this particular video, we're going to be focusing on when are the best times to list to maximize value. Now, these tips all come from a few classes that I've been teaching for home sellers over the years, which ultimately got turned into a couple of guidebooks, and then now certified by the state of Minnesota as continuing education for real estate agents. So hopefully there's some good, helpful nuggets in here for you. Let's dive into the first thing, which is time of year. I've heard agents say out there, oh, it doesn't really matter when you put your home on the market. It all depends on your circumstances. You list high, you may sell high on the peak times of year, and then you also have to buy high, though. So then the low times, that's you're selling lower but buying lower. So it doesn't really matter. Or the market's always moving up. That's another one that I've heard out there. And this kind of comes from people looking at the 12-month rolling average as far as what homes sell for. And it really does stay either flat or moves up. But that's not actually how our market moves here in the Twin Cities. When we look at the monthly sale prices, it changes a lot. It can be 5% on the low end, and then we look at years like this, and it was 11%, right? So let's say we take 7% at the median sale price range. That's like $28,000 differential from the peak times of the year to the low times of the year. However, if you can shift your selling plans by a couple of months, timing it out, if you are doing a buy, there are ways to do this where you can leverage the market and at least be inside that window. Now, that window typically opens kind of in the latter part of January and holds all the way into September and sometimes October range there. But it does depend on price point. We see first-time homebuyer homes peak earlier in the year, maybe in that May timeline. However, that's peak closed prices. You have to keep in mind that these homes are actually going under contract 30, 60, or maybe more days earlier than that. So puts that peak range more in March for those first-time homebuyer homes. And a lot of times it's better to list your home as the market's coming up into you versus retreating. Okay, but each price point is different. We see that shift for more that median price range, that's more like June, and your more luxury homes, sometimes as late as July or August, as far as those peak prices. Okay, outside of time of year, you also want to look at things like weather, and we can see, big snowstorms sometimes coming in that February-March timeline, or even if you're not even able to hit the perfect window, just avoiding the snow weeks is better and just holding out, or if you are able to come earlier to market, doing that. Here's an example, a week where we see 2,839 showings, and then that snowstorm week drops off to 2,158. That's a pretty significant reduction. So try to avoid those snowstorm or really Arctic cold weeks if possible. And then we look at, let's say, holiday weeks or weekends. Here's July 4th. 4204 drops off to 3172. So again, this is a time to avoid, either list the week before or week after if at all possible. All right, so these are times of year, snow events, holidays, but one that a lot of agents even miss is the day of the week. Listing the home on the day of the week makes a big difference. So if you list on Mondays, we can see here the homes received 1.74 showings per listing on average versus homes that listed on a Friday received 5.12. When you can condense the number of showings into a tighter time frame, you're much more likely to get that multiple offer scenario versus just kind of getting one offer. A couple days go by, you haven't seen much, and then you kind of accept what you have. Whereas if you get that peak time of the week, which is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, has 40% more showings than homes listed Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. All right, hopefully you found this valuable. Our next video, we're going to be diving into another really important point, but it does have relevance here as well. which is if your home is not ready. So the next video is going to be about getting your home ready to list. If your home is not ready, don't try to rush it. Don't be like, oh, I gotta hit that perfect peak week, otherwise we're going to miss out. No, if you're not ready, you're going to miss out more than hitting that perfect week. So taking your time is important. We'll dive into those tips on that next video. If you ever have any questions, always feel free to reach out. My number is 651-303-0019. Also, if you'd ever like a total market overview for your property, calculating when is that window that's best for your particular home and area, as well as going through and giving you a customized recommended preparation list, and also the value range to expect, I'm always happy to provide that. And I will be putting a link below to the Smart Seller Guide as well. Take care and have a great week.